Okay, what's up and welcome back to the Sunday morning podcast on the Broke Bachelor channel. Okay, this is the Broke. Let me just repeat that. This is the Broke Bachura podcast, and today we're doing something that is different. We're gonna be doing a video format, right? And it's actually a slideshow, but it's a video format. I normally do this long format sound videos where I'm just talking. And we can go on like a podcast where you don't get to see me, where you don't get to see a video. But in today's episode, we decided to do a video format, right? And as you can see from the screen, the topic for today is a broke bachelor's diet. How to navigate the culinary world on a budget. Repondo. I know, it's one of those things. But today we don't want to waste too much time because what sparked up this episode was because actually, I've been meaning to do this episode for quite some time, but one of my boys just came to me and was like, "Dongro moms. How do you actually survive, and how much do you actually need in a month to cater for yourself food-wise?" So today, the budget topic we're going to be talking about is just in focus with food, nothing else. We're not going to be talking about toiletries or anything. Today, we're just going to be talking about the broke bachelor's diet, how to navigate the culinary world on a budget. Repondo. So we don't want to waste too much time. We want to get things started. So what is the Broke Bachelor podcast? I know this is episode 5, and last week we were talking about faking it and how it affects you when it comes to being a broke bachelor. Because when you're broke, when you're faking it, you use too much money. But that episode is probably going to be up after this one because this one is more in demand. So I need to do this today and upload it today. But as you probably know, by the Broke Bachelor, there are three key things to survive in this economy. Because let's face it, Tirimi economy got dark. Zimbabwean economy is down. It's in shambles, man. It's in shambles. And I don't know, as you know, Ndogaram Ghetto. Damn, somebody is racing a motorcycle. I don't even know for what. Anyways, let me not be jealous because I don't have a big motorcycle. Anyways, back to the Broke Bachelor podcast. Sorry about the background noise, but it is what it is when you're still starting out. And you know, you're working, you're renting out in the ghetto, etc. But it is what it is. Anyways, back to the podcast. What we're talking about is the three key things to survive in this economy, or things that you should be looking at when it comes to anything that you do as a broke bachelor, which is economy, efficiency, and convenience. Those are the three things. So even when it comes to your diet, you need to be looking at the economy of your diet, the efficiency of your diet, and the convenience your diet gives you. All right. So what sparked the conversation for us to start talking about the Broke Bachelor's diet? So basically, we all know there's been the economical meltdown, which happened in 2018. Homies started struggling. Let's be honest. People started struggling because back then they were earning 1:1. But then the money started going 1:3, 1:5, 1:6, 1:7, now I think it's about 1:16 at the current time of recording on this video. But anyways, it is what it is. So people started struggling, right? Especially young men who just left varsity or a couple of years out of varsity and had been squandering their money without doing any investments, particularly, you know. So most people saw themselves back at their mama's house, was he? And let's face it, too many millennials are mama's boys. And some were actually mama's boys who had been working or who had never actually left home. So they became terrified because now you'll be asking yourself, damn, during the 1:1 era, right, some people were struggling. But now the question becomes, how much do you actually need? Because now you are on a very tight budget. And without money, and you want to see how you can go further. How you can actually survive. So for most mama's boys, they are used to getting fed, you know, and everything is done for you. And the sapa, muka, shibikirwa, chairirwa, shitirwa say. So now it was terrifying. It became really terrifying for them because now the question was, how do you actually survive? And because normally with most mama's boys, the father figure could be there, but you know, maybe there's a tarnished relationship, or maybe there's no father figures, because let's not face it as well, some millennials are born from single mothers as well. So that guidance on how to actually be a man and just navigate the world might not have been there, you know. And big mama's boy myself, so I kind of understand that, though father figures. Anyways, so the reason why we decided to do this episode was it's been lingering for too long. So this is why I'm here. I'm here to break it down for you and to help you mama's boys out there make your life easier to some extent by actually breaking it down to you. Because some people say, people were asking in some groups, how much money do you actually need per month? Some were saying 200, 300, $70. Some even say $30 and some $50. But the problem is people are just saying these figures without breaking it down. So that makes it difficult, because there's actually a homie of mine was like, guys, sango tuza these amounts, which you're not breaking it down, because Morongo did 30, but break it down so that you can actually make sense of it. So that's why I'm just here. I'm just trying to break it down for you, right? And by breaking it down, I'm always there to keep the balance. Like I told you, I'm always going to be looking at economy, convenience, efficiency, and then we're also going to look at balance. Also extends to the diet itself. We're going to be looking at carbs, lipids, a balanced diet. What makes a balanced diet? So carbs and lipids are the fats. Kind of go hand in hand, but at the same time, lipids are also going hand with proteins. That's why you see them in the same categories or circles. And then in the lower circle, you're going to have the vitamins and minerals and water. So this is what constitutes a balanced diet. And somebody starts blasting music right out of the window. I don't know if they're mad because I'm speaking. They're like, let's screw this guy in this podcast. It's disturbing. But I got a dynamic mic, so hopefully it doesn't pick up the sound. Because a condenser mic would definitely pick up a sound. Right. So this is where we're going to live it out for now. Right. It's time for me to break it down. We just want to break it down to a simple diet, how you would actually navigate. So this is the time we're going to jump out of PowerPoint, because I actually have a cool Excel file which I made for you. And this is what we're going to start doing, because putting numbers to the board, man. It's all about putting numbers to the board. So we're going to close this for now. Yes, I want to view this later. All right, let's go. So I broke it down into the first month. Let's say now you want to move out and you were living in your mama's house or your mama's basement or daddy's basement or whatever you were. But if you were living in your daddy's house, you will be out of the house by 21, trust me, or by 24, right? But some cats are now 29. They're still in their mama's house. So, yep, they definitely do need some help. So to break it down, I decided to group it into two categories, right? The typical dude and myself. So myself is basically how I live as a broke bachelor. This is regardless of where I'm staying. Could be Harare, Mutare, Vic Falls, Wangi, Kokwe, Bay Bridge, Yamapanda, all these places I stayed. I've been to. So I don't care where I am. This is how I roll, right? And also, we're going to be breaking it down as for someone who Asina one, probably I will not finish. That's the thing, because we're broke, and most probably you're not earning more than $200 or $250. So 200, because I know there are cats out there with earning $100. Trust me, Wariko and Didi. So we're just trying to make sure that this is as convenient as possible. Rent, it's somewhere there, right? But personally, I think you should just try to invest or ask for someone to buy you a 1-plate or 2-plate stove. Make a pot or at least one pot would be okay. Because I want to tell you, I once had a month where I didn't have a pot and I had a refrigerator and a stove, but I didn't have a pot because I couldn't afford to buy a pot because I just moved from that town and I didn't have money. So that month, I spent the whole month chijigama noodles, spaghetti, without anything else. It was just porridge and spaghetti or noodles in the evening. Basically, I was doing a 101 for you guys out there, you know it. Or sometimes you just do a 001, you know it. But it's tough. So basically, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to break it down so that at least we could try to aim for the 101. Lunch, we could skip it. But at the same time, I also have a provision for lunch, which is down there. So as you're already looking at the Excel file, this is, and obviously because this is like the first voice video format podcast that we have. So if I'm rambling about, please forgive me. But I'm going to do is I have links in the description below for you to skip away the part that you actually want. But the introduction is always quite neat as well. And this is where we actually start to break it down. And this is where you also just get to familiarize with the Broke Bachelor episode as well. And hey, I'll be dropping some gems of wisdom. Although I'm not too old for me to be saying that I'm wise, but hey, my beard is kind of getting white. Anyways, back to the main story. So for the typical dude, we start off with the basics of what you need. My basics one, and remember, we're just dealing with food. We're not dealing with toiletries, grooming stuff, or any other things that you need. We're just going to stick to the basics for now. So for the typical dude, what I decided was, I know most typical dudes, sadza. That's the first thing that comes. And I remember one of my homies, Zebi, he's always, I don't know why Zimbabweans we're so obsessed with sadza. Maybe that's one of the things why we fail, but I had to acknowledge it. People want that sadza. So the first thing on the list is going to be mealie meal 5 kg, and as you can see down at the sheet, this is called the first month. So for mealie meal 5 kg, there are two options for you. As you can see, there are actually two columns. There's one which is a little bit expensive and one which is a little bit cheap. So the first one, as you can see, this is refined mealie meal. So this will cost you about $5.50, and we're going to be budgeting using US dollars because the RTGS rate can just go up anytime. So for you to secure mealie meal 5 kg, we're looking at Palenta Ungwerewere, which is the nice refined mealie meal, which is going to be white. You're going to be looking at $5.50. Then, if you don't care, sadza. For me, basically sadza, because it's all carbohydrates at the end of the day. You're looking at $4.75, right? So this is roller meal. Then we're still looking at the typical dude. For myself, personally, I don't do sadza because why? As I say, economy, efficiency, and convenience. Sadza is not convenient. 1, 2, the energy I use to cook it. 2, the monitoring that I need to make sure that it doesn't get screwed up or effed up. And also 3, washing portia sadza is just a heck of a thing. So for me, it doesn't tick the convenience and efficiency boxes. Economically, yes, but the convenience and efficiency doesn't tick them. So I throw it out. It's out of the window for me. But so for me, I double it up. I have rice 2 kg, which is Mahatma. So at the same time, I decided, because normally I've noticed homies don't eat sadza every day. I want you to get sadza every day. So sometimes they put some rice in there. So for rice, 2 kg. So I have two options for you. Mahatma and all the other good white rice brands, this is going to set you at 2.79. But for ideal rice, it's going to be like 195. So yeah, so it all depends where you're going to be. If you're going to be the cheap guy, you definitely need to go for 195, or you're going to have to go for 279. That is for rice. Now, the next thing that you need after getting this basic, because the first thing you need carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the main, the bulk. Ask anyone who's a bachelor and who's broke, they will tell you that your diet is mostly going to consist of carbohydrates. So that's why I started off with carbs. So for my 2 pockets of carbs, I have 4 kgs of rice. So that's 479. That's 2.79 times 2. I don't know what that is. And for the typical dude, I have mealie meal 5 kg. That should last you, I think, a month or 2 months. But basically for me, 2 kgs. I think 4 kg lasted me a month eating that. So the next thing that you're going to look at, but 2 kg, it's a ballpark. Sometimes I eat a lot, so that's why I have 4 kgs. But for the typical dude, that's why I say first month, because some of these things will roll over into the next month. For example, the next thing we're going to look at is the cooking oil. In this case, these are our lipids, right? So cooking oil, 2 liters. So it's going to be $3.99 regardless of what brand you're getting or where you're getting it, right? So let's just call it $4. So what you're going to find out is cooking oil will last you about 2 months if you use it nicely and efficiently. Personally, I don't put too much cooking oil into my food, so that will probably take you for 2 months, which will last me nicely. So that is going to roll over into the next month. So for the next month, you're definitely going to have to remove that from your budget. And so you're going to be $3.99 short, which is a good thing, right? Next thing. And the other thing which is going to roll over into the next thing, because if you're going to do plain rice, you definitely need cooking oil and salt. And obviously the people opening the door because they're a-holes whilst I'm recording myself. Anyways, now for minerals, salt 1 kg. This is going to roll over into the next month, if not into the next month, right? So this is going to be, regardless of where you're buying this, it's like 95 cents, right? It is what it is. It's going to be like 95 cents. And then, so this will allow you, so if you look at it, rice, cooking oil, and salt, you're good. You said you can have plain rice. I've had months where I've just had plain rice, and I don't really have a problem or qualm with plain rice. For me, it's quite good. Now the next thing, I put it in cups, sugar. Personally, for me, I don't even know why I put sugar because I remember there were months where I never had sugar in the house because I usually take honey. So sugar for me is not something that I prioritize. 2 kgs of sugar could last me like 4, 5, or even 6 months because I don't really take sugar that much when I'm alone. But for you guys out there, because I know the typical dude usually makes tea, etc, all those other kinds of things. So you might definitely be looking at this for 1, 2, or 3 months, which I don't know is typical, but that'll set you up at 2.08. Now the next thing on the list that we have is obviously you're gonna need your proteins, right? So udama proteins are so to put it out because that's how it's gonna balance out with your eggs and everything. So I for protein I have put 36 eggs. I think a crate has 36 eggs. So if you go to the typical dude, you're gonna find out that the typical dude, if he's going for Ivans, he's gonna be forking out $5.29. But if he's going for the other cheaper brands, he's going to be forking out $4.99. Then for myself, because dude, I'm cheap, I'm gonna go for $4.99, right? So there you go. So that's the first protein entry into the list. You could cut it out of there because you're not gonna get mazai. So that'll be milli meal and your protein. So one zai a day, but that is like going to the next level of being broke. And yo, dude, I've been there as well. But then some people are thinking this is mostly for Maneru, right? What about in the morning? So in the morning, yeah, we're gonna start looking at cereal. So cereal, I got two for the typical dude. We have two columns again. So we got 329 and 229. So 229 is your Servita, and 329 you're looking at Kellogg's cornflakes, which I think yeah, if you're too bougie, just grab that. But personally, Servita I think is okay. But for me now, because I won't get Kellogg's and Servita. The reason why I won't do that, I do instant porridge, is because I personally find Sunrise porridge to be the perfect one for me. That's the perfect brand for me. And I'm looking at 1 kg. It's normally sold in 500 grams or 250 grams, but I'll just put in at a bowl mark. It's 1 kg is like $1. So I think for the month I would need two. So that would put me at $2. You get what I'm saying? So it all depends. And I know for other guys as well, cereal, you're gonna need probably 2 boxes, right, for the month. I don't depending on how you eat your cereal. So that's why I put it times two. Same for me, I put it times two. The reason why I stick to instant porridge or sunrise porridge for me, if I definitely do need breakfast, the reason why I do that is because I find it to tick all the 3 boxes for economy, convenience, and efficiency. Look at this. This is 99 cents, which is like $1, and this is economy compared to Kellogg's, which is $3.29 and $2.29. Now the next thing, once you're looking at this, is let's look at efficiency. This will last you longer. Let's just group efficiency and convenience in one. This will last you longer. And two, look at it. For cereals, particularly Kellogg's cornflakes, you're gonna need powdered milk, or even Servita, you're gonna need milk. But for me, with instant porridge, the only thing I need is hot water or even cold water, man. You get it? Although, hey, hot water is best. So all I'm saying is, all I need to make instant porridge is cold water. No, hot water, I mean. And this will take me 3 minutes. Same for you. I understand you're going to need powdered milk, and it's going to be convenient with the cereals and the same thing. But anyway. And the other thing you're going to look at, when you're looking at Kellogg's cornflakes or other cereals, they're high in sugars, right? And the reason why I say sunrise porridge for me is because it's gluten-free. I know, I'm not trying to be bougie for you, but it's gluten-free, so it's much better for you to just cop the instant porridge for sunrise. So it's gluten-free, plenty of vitamins in there, plenty of minerals in there, carbohydrates in there. It also has a protein content of, I think it was 6 grams per every 100 grams. So it's still there. But when you jump over now to Servita, when you look at the box, when you look at the protein content, it's quite low. It's high in fats and carbs. So looking at efficiency, convenience, and economy, instant porridge, especially from Sunrise, ticks off the box for me, and it is what it is. Just a reminder, please don't slam the door. Just close it a bit, please. Thank you. I was just talking to the guy. So don't slam the door, please. Thank you. Anyways, back to you guys. Sorry for that one. Now, the other thing that I've added, oh gosh, he goes in to slam the door. Anyways, I'm still recording this and putting it out raw so that you can understand how I record these videos. Now, the next thing is cups. So after the instant porridge, for me now, I definitely need honey because to make my porridge pop and like just pop, pop, pop. So this is comparable to somebody getting powdered milk. But the beauty of the honey is I also put it on my bread, and honey is good for you. And sometimes when you just put honey and warm water, you don't even need tea. Why? Because although tea is good, I don't like putting sugar. I don't like putting milk. I like to take my tea black. Although nowadays I'm working in a construction, so they put there's like tea with milk, and you gotta do what you gotta do. To be honest, this has been the most unhealthy year for me. But hey, dude, my body isn't healthy anyway. So it is what it is. So for me, the typical I didn't go to $3 for honey, but the typical dude now goes to powdered milk. So pro brands, no, I think the best everyday powdered milk will set you back at $3.99. But if you're going for pro brands, that will set you back at $2.89, right? And also not forget, because this checks the box for both the typical dude and myself. So the typical dude will have bread in there. So what we did is we're looking at buying bread 2 times a week. So that's $2 a week, right? And multiplying that by 4, you get $8. So that's why the cheapest dude is good. But sometimes other guys eat a lot of bread. So I just gave a provision of an extra week's worth of bread, so to make it 10, which is the same as me. So for me, this bread includes garlic bread or rolls, right? So I just lump it up there, but I just need $10 for all these confectionaries, which are baked goods. $10 will be good for me. So that includes the rolls, continental rolls, crispy rolls, garlic bread, that type of thing. Now, the next thing, minerals, drink. So drink, this is obviously your coladas, the drink that you use water to dilute with Mazoe, Schweppes, Quench, Squish Squash. Personally, if you're broke, let me tell you something. Don't even buy the cheap brands. Don't buy Squish Squash. Don't buy Bali House. Don't buy whatever it is. Dude, why? Because the problem with those cheap brands is, yes, they're cheap, but they also, you finish them quickly. So you're going to have to fork out more money in a month than when you buy the old trusted Mazoe brand. And if you buy the Orange Crush, it's even better for you. Why? Because it lasts longer compared to cream soda or all these other brands, raspberry. But if you're not a fan of Mazoe Orange, like myself, I just find it harsh on the throat, and especially when you don't have a fridge. Mazoe Orange is good with cold water, but when you don't have a fridge, I find it's best for you to just grab Mazoe Blackberry, which is the best for you. It is one of those things. So that will set you up. I just use the tuck shop price. If you're in a convenience shop, the drink costs $3, right? It could be cheaper in supermarkets, but let's just go with $3, man, right? And now, for me, this is where me and the typical dude sort of deviate from each other, right? Even way more. Because straight out the drinks, I'm going back to another crate of eggs because I'm a high believer in protein. So I would rather have a instant porridge in the morning with an egg. Then in the evening, I will cook up my rice with an egg or whatever it is again, right? So with 2 eggs. So I'm a believer in eggs, whether you're doing egg whites or the yolks. So I'm always going to have 2 crates with me. So that's $4.99 again to add up to that. And then, but the typical dude, because he does meal, he's going to be having vegetables, over my onions, tomatoes, and obviously nyama. So for me, that's where the other deviation comes in. So vegetables, you're looking at maveji, rib, kovo, tunga, whatever you take. You're looking at $4 a month. This is across the board, whether you're going to be cheap or you're not going to be cheap. Then my onions for your gravy or soup, whatever you call it. Tomatoes, for anything that you want to spice up. We're looking at the bare basics where you like struck for cash and you're just trying to make it. You're trying to survive because a lot of people are surviving right now, right? Lots of people are surviving. So vegetables, avoid my onions, avoid my tomatoes. So that's going to set you up at $4 plus 2. So that's like $8 a month, right? And then because one nyama, let's be honest with it. So But this is where the deviation comes as well. Personally, I don't do red meat when I'm alone, or I don't like beef, pork. You're not gonna find me cooking those meats when I'm alone. Right? The type of meats I'll be cooking is chicken in kunku. I'm as black as they come. Chicken, bro. Give me the crispy fried chicken. Anyways, so for chicken, for me, it also extends not just from the chicken itself, like the main, but also the casings. They call them the casings. I just said that's what you call them, the shamkati. So this extends to the liver, gizzards, liver and gizzard. That's what I mostly eat, right? For myself as well, because it's a bunch. Because it's not footage, so you don't want to grab too much meat. So you just grab something just to spice it up. So usually it's like $1 for those things, or even less than $1 on water. So you just come up with your liver. Maybe it's like 117 RTGS, which is manageable, right? Because like now the rate is 160, so $10 can get you 1,600, right? Not on the official market, obviously. So I can manage with $10 to grab myself occasionally some meat, throw it in there. But I'm a big believer. I don't even have a qualm. I can go every day just eating rice and what else? Rice, chicken, eggs. Rice, chicken, eggs. That's me. For my vitamins now, this is where we're gonna go into. But for the typical dude, some people will spend $2 a day on meat. Some will spend $1 on meat. So what I decided was to make it sparingly. You're only having meat sparingly. So you will find that for the guy who's willing to spend more money, it's $20. For the guy who's willing to spend less, 15, or we could make it 10. It all depends, right? So after having that, this is what I consider to be the bare basics of a broke bachelor's diet. So at the end, we're gonna sum it up. So the guy who's willing to fork out more money, or who's going to be doing the top tier caliber things, you're gonna have to fork out around $70. So those who have had people say, "I think you need $70 for food," this is basically what they break down normally looks like, right? So obviously, the typical dude, you're gonna have some variations to the typical dude's diet. It's obvious. You're gonna have some variations here and there, but this is basically what a typical dude eats, right? And usually they go up to 72.17, so it's like $70 or $75. Then there's the other typical dude who's gonna be skimping on the cheap side, not because, but sometimes because the money is shoma. So you're looking at about $60, right? And then you're looking at a guy who's like myself, who likes convenience, economy, and efficiency. And the other thing why I don't do vegetables, onions, and tomatoes is because I don't have the time to be cutting these things and cooking up vegetables. Those who run my veggies or eat that as it say, yeah, does it. Personally, I don't do this. If I'm sharing space with a couple of cats, yeah, we could do that. But personally, I'm not a fan of those things. I really don't like it. Me, I'm fresh with just getting my bread, my rice, something that's quick, efficient, so that I can get to work on things like this, like the podcast. You know, I like having my time. My time is my time. I like to have as much control over my time, not to spend too much time trying to prepare food. Dude, it's just basically carbohydrates, proteins, and minerals for crying out loud, right? Just make sure you get something. Just get your daily nutritional recommended values in and you're safe. Who cares what it looks like? As long as you get your NRVs, you're good. Now, so as we say, the total is $70, and I spent about $50. But then, if you want to break it down, and if you want to skimp on the meat, you could also come out then you're 55. So me and the typical dude who's chipping it out, we could go to $50. So $55 would really set us apart. So yeah, it is what it is. Then now, it all depends. Like I said, if you work in a place where you have lunch provided for you, or you can work in a job that allows you to actually do 101 or to do something else, you could skip on the lunch, right? Or you could occasionally have some lunch. But what I decided was to throw in a budget for lunch at 30 days, looking at $1 a day. And so you're looking at $30, right? So for me, if I was working in a place where lunch was not provided, I would obviously have to fork out $30. But I work in a place where lunch is provided, right? But obviously my salary is kak. That is Afrikaans for a third. My salary is a third. So basically they provide lunch for me because they know, dude, we already owe you $30 from your salary. And more than $30 actually. So they're like, right, let's just that one's eating lunch. So they end up giving us lunch and on. So I don't have to fork out this $30. So for me, it's like zero. So I come down to 50.6. But back when I was in my previous employer, so it was yeah, the money was better than now, but so $30 in Lajangaribo. And don't get all sadza when I'm really craving sadza. But normally just rice and some things, So if I'm really craving other things, so at the end of the month, you would find that I would need about $80 just for food. But the good thing about this is because most of these things are going to roll over. So for me, let me just put it out to the next month. You will find that for the next month, I don't have cooking oil, right? And I don't have salt. Let me cut that out. I don't have sugar. Let me cut that out. And probably I'm just adding one other rice in there. Let me cut that out as well. Drink, obviously, I'm gonna have to grab that as well. So let me see how much would this total be. So that would save me $10, right? So if I was going to then just keep it up like that, so in the end, the next month I would use about 70. So my total money would fluctuate between 80 and $70, right? But for the other dude, obviously you can do that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share this Excel file with you guys as well, so that you can just go through it and see how you can play around with it, do your budget. But I try to break it down for somebody who's still starting, probably. And also, I'll try to break it down for my homie. I'm just going to call him Frank for now because his name starts with an F. He's a big mama's boy. He's bloody old. Anyways, let me just, I don't want to say this. I'm joking with you, bro. I love you 100%. This is why I did this podcast, and this is why I did it in a video format, because I know you don't have time to listen to a lot of things. You like visuals, man. And let me just share. I'm shading you on the podcast. Anyways, this is a joke. That's how we play, man. You and me, we teasing each other. Anyways, nada. So I decided to do this breakdown for you, but hopefully it will also help somebody else. So this is the basic breakdown. This is for food. How you can really just look at it and break it down nicely for you. The other thing is you don't need to major on the minor. Food, just get enough food for you to survive for the month. When you start, and the other thing is when you start earning more money, yes, you start throwing it. But I think we really need to get that a little bit of discipline when it comes to food, so they just start popping it up. So yeah, this is basically the Broke Bachelor diet, holiday etiquette. Yes, I have a video on holiday etiquette which we're gonna do. So the Broke Bachelor's diet, how to navigate the culinary world on a budget. Repondo, right? But then this obviously assumes your rent is low. So I think at the end of the day, kungwava kwaganaka. But like you see, you could keep it at $40. If you're really broke, you're gonna have to starve sometimes, because when you don't have food, you realize you don't have food, you're gonna work hard so that you put food on the table. So it is what it is. So there again, somebody just decided to disturb me by handing me out with some breakfast. Thank you, Brent. Thank you, man. For today's breakfast, we got 4 slices of bread, eggs, and is this gravy, boy? Seems like gravy. The tomatoes are chunky as hell. But anyways, thank you for joining me for today's podcast. This is episode 5. No, I'm sure this is episode 5. But then the previous one is going to air. Episode 4 is going to come after the previous one. So that was about faking it and how not to fake it, because faking it is not convenient for a bachelor. Anyways, thank you for joining me today. It has been pretty good having a nice time with you. So now let me just enjoy my breakfast. Then I jump to work. And I'll see you next week on the Sunday morning podcast. We're going to discuss something new. And my boy Frank, this one's specifically for you. So I'm going to give you the Excel file and the PowerPoint if you need it. Until next time, chill out, stay safe, don't sneeze, and I'll see you in the next episode.